Live from New Delhi, you're watching TD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 1 hour, Nicolas Maduro jailed in New York as Donald Trump says US will run Venezuela. Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodríguez takes over as the interim president. World leaders largely express concern, some praise the US capture of Maduro. India expresses deep concern. OPEC Plus keeps oil output steady amid Saudi-UAE tensions. Venezuela wakes up to an uneasy calm and a political vacuum. A day after a stunning US snatch-and-grab operation, President Nicolas Maduro is in American custody and is currently being held in a New York jail to face drug trafficking charges. As uncertainty grips the nation, the White House signals a decisive and potentially prolonged role in Venezuela's future. More in this report.
Across Venezuela, an uneasy stillness prevails. Residents are bracing for what comes next after US President Donald Trump declared that the United States would effectively run the country, raising alarms over sovereignty and governance.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
Trump appeared to sideline the opposition's path to power, indicating he could work with Maduro's Vice President, Delcy Rodríguez.
They're going to be a team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro, and right now she's the vice president, and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn in as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, we'll do whatever you need. I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right.
The prospect was swiftly rejected. Rodríguez demanded Maduro's immediate release and vowed to defend Venezuela.
We demand the immediate liberation of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. The only president of Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro. We are ready to defend Venezuela. We are ready to defend our natural resources that must be for national development.
Venezuela's Supreme Court ordered Rodríguez to assume presidential powers in an acting capacity.
Se ordena.
It is hereby ordered that Delcy Eloína Rodríguez Gómez, Executive Vice President of the Republic, assume and exercise all the powers, duties, and authorities inherent to the office of President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Yet the signals from the White House suggest US involvement may be far from temporary.
So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about.
With leadership contested, power in flux, and foreign influence looming, Venezuela stands at crossroads. Its future uncertain, its silence telling, and the world is watching closely. Bureau Report, TD India.
And the world is reacting with sharp divisions after the US forces carried out the strikes and captured Maduro. Global opinion remains split, with some leaders backing Washington's move, while others condemning it as a violation of sovereignty. Several countries have urged restraint and called for a dialogue to prevent further escalation.
The world is reacting sharply after US forces carried out strikes in Venezuela, capturing President Nicolas Maduro in a military operation in Caracas. Global opinion remains deeply divided over Washington's action. North Korea was among the strongest critics, calling the US strikes the most serious form of encroachment on sovereignty. North Korea state media said the incident once again exposed what it described as Washington's rogue and brutal nature. European reactions were mixed. French President Emmanuel Macron praised the removal of Maduro but stressed the transition must be peaceful and democratic. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz called the legal assessment of the US strikes complex, while British Prime Minister Keir Starmer declined to comment on their legality. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised President Donald Trump's decisive action, while China and Russia condemned the strikes, warning against interference and calling for dialogue.
I want to express the entire government's support for the determined decision and action of the United States to restore freedom and justice to that part of the world as well. We welcome this. We congratulate President Trump on his decision. We also salute the American military forces who carried out a perfect operation.
The United Nations expressed deep alarm, warning the action sets a dangerous precedent. The EU urged restraint, while Pope Leo called for respect for Venezuela's independence and human rights.
With a soul full of concern, I followed developments in Venezuela. The good of the beloved Venezuelan people must prevail over any other consideration and lead to overcoming violence and embarking on paths of justice and peace, guaranteeing the sovereignty of the country, ensuring the rule of law enshrined in the Constitution, respecting the human and civil rights of each and every person.
Oman also reaffirmed support for international law and urged de-escalation. As diplomatic tensions rise, calls for restraint and dialogue continue to grow worldwide. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
And India has expressed concern over the recent developments in Venezuela and said that it's closely monitoring the evolving situation there. India's External Affairs Ministry in a statement said that the recent developments in Venezuela are a matter of deep concern. The statement further says that India reaffirms its support to the well-being and safety of the people of Venezuela and called upon all concerned to address issues peacefully through dialogue, ensuring peace and stability in the region. The Embassy of India in Caracas is in contact with members of the Indian community and will continue to provide all possible assistance. India also urged its nationals to avoid all non-essential travel to Venezuela after U.S. troops captured Maduro and took them to the U.S. following an assault on Caracas. As per the advisory, all Indians currently in Venezuela were advised to exercise extreme caution and restrict their movements and remain in contact with the embassy in Caracas through email ID or the emergency phone numbers, which we are putting it out on the screen. Tech billionaire Elon Musk on Sunday expressed support for the people of Venezuela as SpaceX-owned Starlink announced that it was providing free broadband internet services in the country for a limited period, as Venezuela remains gripped by fast-moving political developments. In a post on X, Musk wrote, and I quote, "in support of the people of Venezuela," while reposting a message from Starlink outlining the initiative. Colombian troops have been deployed along the border city of Cucuta after United States carried out the overnight strikes on Caracas and other parts of neighboring Venezuela, a move strongly condemned by Colombian President Gustavo Petro. In a post on X, President Petro said that Colombia had activated a unified command post to secure the border and implement an operational plan, and called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council and Organization of American States. The OPEC Plus has kept oil output unchanged on Sunday after avoiding discussions on the multiple political crises affecting the producer group's members from West Asia as well as Russia, Iran and Venezuela. Sunday's meeting of the 8 members of OPEC Plus, which pumps about half of the world's oil, came after oil prices fell by more than 18% in 2025, their steepest yearly drop since 2020, amid growing oversupply concerns. The 8 OPEC Plus members raised oil output targets by around 2.9 million barrels per day in 2025, equal to almost 3% of the world oil demand, to regain market share. The 8 members agreed in November to pause output hikes for January, February and March due to relatively low demand in the Northern Hemisphere winter. The 8 countries will next meet on February 1st. Britain and France have carried out airstrikes in Syria to stop the Islamic State from rebuilding. Despite losing the territory years ago, the group remains a threat, with international forces keeping up pressure. DD India's Adam Mishra brings us more.
Britain and France have carried out joint airstrikes against the Islamic State group in Syria, aiming to prevent the extremist organization from regaining strength. France said the strikes were conducted under Operation Inherent Resolve, the US-led international campaign against Islamic State in Iraq, Syria and Libya. The British Ministry of Defence said it coordinated with France on Saturday night to target an underground facility in Syria. According to the ministry, the site was likely being used by Islamic State to store weapons and explosives. Royal Air Force aircraft successfully carried out the strikes as part of the joint operation, adding that the facility was located in an area with no civilian habitation and that there was no indication of any risk to civilians. While Islamic State was defeated territorially in Syria in 2019, recent attacks show the group is far from finished. With strikes continuing and international forces on alert, the message from allies is clear. Any attempt by ISIS to resurface will be met with force. Adam Mishra's report for DD India.
And North Korea has fired a ballistic missile towards the sea off its east coast, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement on Sunday. According to Japan's Ministry of Defense, the missile is believed to have been already fallen. The last time Pyongyang tested its ballistic missile was in November. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for more than double the production capacity of tactical guided weapons on his latest visit to a munitions factory. The first launch of North Korea's ballistic missiles in 2 months comes as South Korean President Lee Jae-myung left for China on Sunday for a state visit, where Seoul has said that peace on the peninsula would be discussed. In recent weeks, Kim has made a series of visits to factories that build weapons as well as to a nuclear-powered submarine, and has overseen missile tests ahead of next year's 9th Party Congress of the Workers' Party, convened to set out major policy goals. Japan has issued an emergency alert after North Korea launched these missiles towards the sea. Japan's defense ministry said that it had lodged a stern protest and strongly condemned the launch of these ballistic missiles by the North towards the sea off its coast.
Such ballistic missile launches violate relevant UN security resolution and constitute a serious issue concerning the safety of our citizens. Japan has lodged a stern protest and strongly condemned North Korea missile launch through the embassy route in Beijing. The Ministry of Defense will continue to work closely with United States, South Korea and other parties to protect the life and properties of our people by dedicating all effort to information gathering, analysis and vigilance.
And still to come up on DD India Newshour, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar embarks on a visit to France and Luxembourg. The Bhogapuram International Airport in Andhra Pradesh conducts validation flight. Key initiatives to strengthen India's research and development and innovation ecosystem unveiled.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Amritpal Singh. At least 30 people were killed and several others kidnapped after gunmen attacked a market in the Niger state of Nigeria on Saturday. Gunmen attacked the Kasuwan Daji market in the Niger state on Saturday, burning stalls and looting food. Authorities are investigating the attack as part of the ongoing efforts to curb rising bandit violence in the region. And 30 were killed and several others were kidnapped during the attack. The attackers arrived on motorcycles and fired indiscriminately, targeting men, women and children. The violence also spread to nearby villages including Agwara, Borgu, Chukama and Shanga. The attack is part of the escalating banditry in Nigeria weeks after more than 300 children and staff were kidnapped from a Catholic school. At least 26 people have died and 14 others are missing as passenger boat carrying farmers and fishermen capsized in late Saturday in northeastern Nigeria. The accident occurred as the rudimentary vessel was traveling from Jigawa state to neighboring Yobe state. Officials said that the rescue teams have recovered 26 bodies so far, while 13 passengers have been rescued, adding that the search and rescue operations are still ongoing for the missing. Boat accidents are frequent in Nigeria's busy rivers, often blamed on overloading, poor maintenance and failure to follow safety regulations, with dozens of fatalities reported each year. Hundreds of prisoners walked free from Myanmar on Sunday after the junta announced annual Independence Day pardons. A huge crowd of relatives and family members were gathered outside Yangon's insane prison to welcome the released prisoners. Junta Chief Min Aung Hyang pardoned the 6,134 imprisoned Myanmar nationals as a part of the annual courtesy to mark the country's Independence Day. Prominent model and former doctor Nang Mui San was also among those released on Saturday. She was arrested in 2020 on a charge of harming culture and dignity. 52 foreign prisoners were also released and will be handed over to their respective countries or deported to their respective countries. The military has arrested thousands of protesters and activists since February 2021 coup. Leaders of the Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council met with BNP acting chairman Tariq Rahman at the party's Gulshan office in Dhaka to express condolences over the death of former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia. During the meeting, the minority leaders described Khaleda Zia as a strong and uncompromising leader who played an important part or role in the country's democratic movement. They said her death was a giant loss for Bangladesh and conveyed their sympathies to Tariq Rahman and his family. The leaders also discussed the growing concerns over recent incidents of violence against minority communities in different parts of the country. They presented Rahman with details of these incidents and submitted an 8-point list of demands urging the BNP to include them in their commitments in the election manifesto. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on an official visit to France and Luxembourg from today to the 10th of January 2025. 2026. I'm sorry, 25 was the last year, 2026. In Paris, External Affairs Minister will meet the French leadership and hold talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Both leaders will discuss the progress made during India-France strategic partnership and matters of global importance. External Affairs Minister will also address the 31st edition of the French Ambassadors Conference as the guest of honor. In Luxembourg, the External Affairs Minister will hold discussions with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Xavier Bettel, of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg and with the senior leadership of Luxembourg. He will also be interacting with the members of the Indian community in Luxembourg. And at a time when major global economies are facing slow growth and uncertainty, India's economic activity remains relatively strong. The latest Purchasing Managers Index data released by the S&P Global shows continued expansion in both manufacturing and services, outperforming many large economies. India's manufacturing PMI stood around 55 in December, while the services PMI remained near 59, reflecting faster growth driven by strong domestic demand, job creation and rising output. In contrast, the Eurozone continues to face industrial contraction. China shows limited growth and the US records only moderate expansion amid ongoing uncertainty. Andhra Pradesh's aviation ambitions took a major leap forward. The upcoming Bhogapuram International Airport has successfully conducted its first flight, marking a crucial step towards the operational readiness. DD India's Taposh Bhattacharya files us this exclusive report from the Bhogapuram Airport in Andhra Pradesh.
Taking a decisive step towards operational readiness, GMR Visakhapatnam International Airport Limited has successfully conducted a validation flight at the upcoming Bhogapuram Airport in Andhra Pradesh. The milestone validation flight, operated by an Air India aircraft, marks a major breakthrough in the journey of the state's new Greenfield International Airport. The flight was conducted in the presence of Union Minister for Civil Aviation, Kinjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu, senior officials from Ministry of Civil Aviation, Airports Authority of India, the Government of Andhra Pradesh and leadership from the GMR Group.
India is no longer seen as a strong domestic aviation market, but as a global aviation market. That is the vision our Prime Minister has set for us today, and we are going in the right path. And the number of airports that we are launching, every 45 to 50 days we are having one airport launch. Either it's a new airport or it is an airport where we have expanded the capacity, and in the last 18 months itself we have done many, and the most prestigious of them has been the Navi Mumbai Airport, which has also been pending for long decades. We have completed that, and very soon we are going to open the Noida Jewar Airport also, which is on the verge of completion, and very soon we are going to see the Bhogapuram also launching its operations. So you are seeing how, with a vision to look into the future, we are creating the airports today.
The successful operation validates critical airside infrastructure, including the runway, navigational aids, operational systems, in the line with DGCA regulatory requirements. Speaking on the occasion, the Civil Aviation Minister said Bhogapuram Airport will emerge as a powerful growth engine, strengthening connectivity, boosting trade and tourism, generating large-scale employment. He added that Visakhapatnam is poised to become the economical capital of the East.
Gateway of the East. This is a vision our Chandrababu Naidu Garu has for this city, and you would see that in the last 18 months, the way Vizag has been projected internationally, and one biggest example that I want to put here is the $15 billion investment that Google is making. Google has always been situated in the Silicon Valley, and the first investment of this sort they are making outside of Silicon Valley. not even in the United States, not even in the Americas or the cross-Atlantic. They have come all the way to India, they have come all the way to Andhra, they have come all the way to Visakhapatnam. So the idea of saying Gateway of the East, already people are supporting that idea and people are coming.
Developed under the PPP model on a DBFOT basis, that is design, build, finance, operate and transfer, the airport will initially handle 6 million passengers annually and expand in phases. The project also includes an aerotopolis, an aviation hub and a state-of-the-art cargo terminal, positioning Bhogapuram Airport as a future-ready aviation gateway for Andhra Pradesh.
Runways tested, system cleared and takeoff approved. Andhra Pradesh aviation future gains altitude as Bhogapuram International Airport successfully conducts its validation flight. The key milestones bring Greenfield International Airport closer to commercial launch, setting the stage for enhanced connectivity and regional economic momentum. With camera person Aniket Dubey, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Bhogapuram International Airport in Andhra Pradesh.
And taking a major step towards operational readiness, the GMR Aero-led GMR Visakhapatnam International Airport Limited has successfully conducted the validation flight at the upcoming Bhogapuram Airport, marking a key milestone for Andhra Pradesh's Greenfield International Airport. Conducted by an Air India aircraft, the flight validated critical airside infrastructure, runway systems and navigational aids in line with the DGCA norms. GMR Group Deputy Managing Director Prabhakar Rao said that the project is over 90% complete and ahead of schedule, reflecting a strong stakeholder collaboration.
You're looking at the brand new airstrip of the Bhogapuram International Airport of North Andhra Pradesh, and this particular airport is expected to be a major game changer, especially for the whole area, especially from the northeast eastern part of the country. And I have with me GMR's Group Deputy Managing Director. Hi Prabhakar Rao sir, this is probably one of the most beautiful airport that we see. We always talk about your latest being the best. This might just take the cake, isn't it?
See, we always strive for the best. Right. Always we have to improve on the past. Our always endeavor is to make it the best and improve every time. Right. GMR as a complete ethos is always whatever we do, it should be environment friendly and sustainability. Right. That's the whole airport has been planned on sustainable basis, and in fact that airport in principle already got certified as the LEED certified platinum. So that certainly indicates clearly how much we take, and also we are putting a 5 megawatt solar plant so that ensure the power will be supplied.
When we talk about sir being the gateway of the east whole East India, we see Bengal, Odisha, all the states very close with national highway, and with this new airport coming in, we believe that this will actually propel the whole area.
Absolutely. See, if you look at this airport, it's such a nice place. It's like a center pivotal point for entire East. Yeah. So all the people, the entire region, look at Delhi, Vizag airport as airport to be destination. Yeah. So that way, this become like a pivotal point for them to come here, and highway linking all these places, airport becomes a standing point for them.
Also, I wanted to ask you, this is the last question. Validation happened. Minister said that very shortly, in a 6-month time, we will have the new airport up and running. When can we expect the inauguration to happen?
He said May, June, yes. Absolutely happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So actually what we happen, only 4% of work is left out. Right. That's called finishing work. Right. Next 2 months we complete, and next 3 months we'll do complete. Next 5 months we complete 100%. By July you can expect commercial operation of the regular flights from this airport.
Commercial operation of the airport will start from July, and that's Prabhakar Rao stating that this is going to be the gateway of the eastern part of the country, and beautiful airport, the latest being one of the best from the GMR stable. With camera person Aniket Dubey, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Andhra Pradesh.
India's Minister of State for Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra Singh, unveiled key initiatives to strengthen India's research and development and innovation ecosystem. These initiatives include the rollout of the guidelines for recognition of in-house research and development centers of deep tech startups, the launch of the PRISM Network Platform, TOCIC, Innovator Pulse and Creative India under the PRISM scheme. The occasion also witnessed the release of the DSIR Disaster Management Plan and the exchange of MOUs with stakeholders, reinforcing collaborative, resilient and innovation-led national development. And still to come up on DD India Newshour, a discussion on the fast-evolving political situation in Venezuela with special guests on the show.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Amritpal Singh, and to talk more about that, I'm joined to talk about the evolving situation in Venezuela. I'm joined by Sushil Kumar Singhal, former senior diplomat, and Dr. Rajan Kumar. He teaches at the Jawaharlal Nehru University.
Yes.
All right. Thank you both gentlemen for being on the show. First to you, Ambassador Singhal. Donald Trump says we'll run the country till a just, fair and judicious transition takes place, basically meaning they'll indefinitely run the country. But he says Marco Rubio has spoken to their Vice President Rodríguez, who's been appointed as the interim president. She's looking at working very closely with the Americans. Rodríguez says, no, release Maduro, you have illegally captured him. What is happening? What is unfolding in Venezuela?
Oh, what is happening is very unprecedented. We know, of course, that in 1989 was the last time when the U.S. intervened in Panama, and Panamanian president was taken away in similar manner, more or less in similar manner. But what has happened in Venezuela, I think is very, very much unprecedented. What are these implications of this? I think it's very serious. One is very much questioning the UN's legitimacy and its ability to perform, because UN can perform if only the powerful countries are willing to accept its role.
Ambassador, will come to the UN or the lack of the UN's enforcement. But my question first is that, is there a political vacuum? Who's in charge? How the American president is saying we don't have troops on the ground, boots on the ground. So who's running Venezuela right now?
Well, what it appears, what the President Trump is saying, of course, is that, they will be running. But there is nobody, as far as we know, because they said that there were 150 planes were used. But there is no boot on the ground. So there is, except the Vice President who has been authorized by the Supreme Court of the Venezuela to be the acting president. I don't think that USA has at this moment taken any authority. Maybe they will try to direct behind the scene, but at this moment is the Vice President. Legally it is the Vice President of Venezuela who is in charge of the country. And of course there is some talk that the opposition leader she got the Nobel Prize she got this prize, and she is going to be a candidate. But at this moment, I think if we look at the the Venezuelan constitution and otherwise, is the Vice President who's running the country. because US forces or US authorities have not taken over. So I think I'm very clear at this moment. Whatever the US administration says, that they are going to be running till the normalcy comes. But at this moment, what it appears is the vice president of Venezuela who is in charge. She's the one acting as an acting president.
All right, Dr. Rajan Kumar, then when Delcy Rodríguez, I think that's what her name is, when Delcy Rodríguez says that, you know, return Maduro, she clearly is siding with Maduro. She says it's illegal capture of the president, return him, send him back. So where is she cooperating with the Americans? And what is the military structure in Venezuela? Will the military owe loyalty to Maduro, or will they come and will they yield under the American threat, thinking that if they can pick up Maduro, they can pick us up too?
Thank you for having me here. At this moment, I think there is a complete political chaos in Venezuela because this earlier the kind of the expectation was that probably Nobel laureate Maria Machado she'll be sent back to Venezuela for the regime, but unfortunately it seems that the Trump administration does not have trust on her also.
And why is that so? Why is that so? Why not?
Well, because probably he thinks that she does not have the support of the Venezuelan people. That's what he said in the statement that he made yesterday. Trump said that she's a very nice person, but she does not have support of the people. And Trump is right, because Venezuela, as you know, the kind of politics which was there, it was a left communist kind of socialist kind of government, and there the popular leader was Maduro. And popular leader being Maduro, and she, although Machado also has the support of the opposition and some people, but she does not have the backing of the majority of the people.
Really?
And also
do you think so? Because after Maduro was captured, if we look at the streets of Venezuela, there is no popular uprising or support for Maduro. All say Maduro lost the 24 election. He stole the election from Machado. Machado got the popular vote. My perception is that Donald Trump does not want to put in Maria Machado there, because what if she gets these ambitions and becomes a popular leader and stops listening to the Americans?
I think if you follow the U.S. politics, then U.S. politics is also, for instance, the Washington Post. Let me take the name also. The editorial of Washington Post, and also many of the Republicans and also some of the Democrats, they are saying that the perfect and the ideal person in Venezuela at this moment would be Maria Machado, the Nobel laureate that we are talking about. But Trump administration, Mario Rubio, probably they do not have the confidence on Maria, and as a consequence, what they are thinking that for the time being, for the sake of governance, let this President Rodriguez continue, and after if she is not cooperating, and she is unlikely to cooperate, let me tell you, because the moment she starts cooperating, the entire Venezuelan system will start revolting against her, and there'll be a revolt and civil war kind of situation. So to avoid that, probably Trump is looking for a situation where some political alternative will emerge, and he'll find out the person. And in that situation, probably America will also send some army, where American army can control from the entire government there. But unless until that happens, at this moment, America does not have a choice. And people are worried that the first strike might be very militarily very successful, but what you need is the issue of the governance. How do you control the Venezuelan government? And Venezuela, as you know, it has multiple, it divided into a lot of gangs, etc. So controlling the gangs in different parts of Venezuela will not be easy for the Trump administration. So at this moment, probably they're looking for some kind of transition, and expecting cooperation from the vice president. So it's a very transitional and interim kind of arrangement. But let me tell you that at this moment, Maduro still had a widespread support. The protest is not taking place in Venezuela for the simple reason that because the same government continues, and people are probably thinking that if if the same regime continues, so what will you protest against? But yes, in different parts of Venezuela there have also been protests, and that's why this Rodriguez, she's expressing the sentiment of the people when she is saying that Maduro is our president. There is only one president, and that is Maduro, and she's asking for the return of Maduro. And not only Venezuela, a lot of other governments in the neighboring country, for instance, Colombia or Brazil, another part, they're clearly saying that what you are witnessing is a regime change. What you're witnessing is completely illegal activity conducted by the United States to control the politics of Venezuela. Does not have United States does not have international support also on this particular issue. Let me tell you that many countries at this moment are silent, but they are even European countries which otherwise would go with United States. They are very unhappy with what happened because it gives a justification for not only Trump but also it gives justification for
no respect for any international law or sovereignty. I mean, that's what it signals.
Absolutely, because it's a violation of sovereignty of a country. It's again, he also violated what people in America are saying, that internal law, the war power law, which if you go for a war for this kind of activity, then you have to take permission from the Congress. But he, without taking any authorization from Congress, he proceeded for this capturing of Maduro, and that has created internal legal crisis also domestically. But again, the way kind of interventionist policy Trump is pursuing, that he takes action first and looks for justification later, and the kind of
But what is the legal position? Does the president need to take a congressional approval for this kind of an operation, or is it in the realm of his executive powers?
Unless and until there is a direct national security threat on American military, president cannot go for a war with other country. Because this involves, the real argument, the legal argument from American perspective is that he should have taken permission from the Congress before going.
But he's saying it's a security issue. He's saying it's a security issue.
Yeah, but even in that situation, there is a clause that you have to inform at least 10 Congress members before going for this kind of action. He doesn't. He has absolutely no interest.
Absolutely. I was just watching an interview of Marco Rubio to an American network, Ambassador Single, where he was asked a pointed question that if for further actions in Venezuela, would you take congressional approval? He said, we'll give congressional notifications.
Yeah, the thing is, in the US, as we are saying last 1 year, the President Trump is pushing to limits exercise of the presidential powers. That is why we see that so many cases pending in Supreme Court. So, and this is also a matter which is, big debate on the subject, because what the president or administration is saying, this is not a war. What they are saying, this is an action basically against a regime or against narcotics, and illegal arms. And that is why they say they have arrested the president because he was declared.
He was indicted by a New York court, yes.
Yeah, and there's a bounty against on his head.
Right.
So what they're saying is a legal action, nothing to do with the war. But the fact remains that 150 airplanes, by their own admission, they participated in the action. So or you look at any other area, be it commerce power, tariff, or be it immigration.
Okay.
On all issues, he's trying to exert to the limit. So, and that's why it all depends on how the Supreme Court is going to interpret his powers. But at the moment, he's exercising those powers.
Then what is it about? If it is not, Kamala Harris, in fact, interestingly made a statement today saying it's not about drugs, it's not about democracy. What is it then about? Is it about resources? Is it about resources?
Actually, you hit the nail on the issue. That actually it is about issue. The way he's saying that American companies will come and manage, and he's talking about not only the oil, because we all know that Venezuela has the maximum proven reserve at the moment, about 300 billion barrels.
There is oil, there is gold, there is lithium, there is rare earth materials. Yeah.
Exactly. And he's saying also that Americans will manage.
Okay. Professor, you wanted to comment?
I think, the most important framework that you need to keep in mind before understanding this kind of policy is the dominance over what he calls Western Hemisphere. As you know that, even in the speech he made this, that, he's trying to revive what he called Monroe Doctrine. And Monroe Doctrine was that in the Western Hemisphere, he'll not allow any other country's influence. In that time, in the 1823, America would not allow the Western European interference in the Latin American politics. And today he's trying to say he'll not, brook any kind of interference from either from China or Russia in the Western Hemisphere. So the issue is primarily the Western Hemisphere, and he's trying to revive he called also, you might call it Monroe Doctrine.
Monroe Doctrine, yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, it is about the dominance of in the Western Hemisphere. It is actually, in a way, it is new imperialism. And this is the beginning of the new imperialism, where you will see this is the beginning, but not the last step that he is taking. He has also threatened Cuba. He's also threatened Mexico and a few other countries in the future. So it's just the beginning of that. And what essentially is happening, that America is unable to maintain the global hegemonic position. So, but now it is saying that it has to maintain at least the hegemony in the Western Hemisphere, and that is possible because most of the countries in the Western Hemisphere, in Latin America, etc., they are very weak countries. Except Brazil, there is not a single other country probably which resist.
And it's his style. He picks up a fight with the weakest link in the chain. He's picked up Venezuela, which is no military match to the United States.
Yeah, certainly. It may not be the weakest because it had military, but I think there was also some kind of conspiracy which.
Yes, I will have to leave it here. Thank you both gentlemen for being on the show and sharing your insights with us. But my producer tells me that's all the time I have on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And moving on to some other stories, fresh snowfall in Jammu and Kashmir's Sonmarg is attracting tourists from across India. Residents hope the winter wonderland will boost local businesses and employment. Take a look at this report.
Sonmarg's pristine white snowy landscape is being complemented by a variety of rides that are notching up thrills in the chill.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है यहाँ पे एंजॉय करने के लिए बहुत कुछ है राइडिंग्स है हॉर्स राइडिंग है स्कूटर बाइक राइडिंग है और यहाँ पे स्नो भी ज़्यादा हो रही है तो जिसको स्नो देखना है स्नोफॉल देखना है वो यहाँ जरूर आए
For Sonmarg residents, the snowfall brings in hopes of more tourist footfall and an increase in businesses.
हम चाहते हैं कि बर्फ अगर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा गिरे सब लोगों को यहाँ का रोज़गार मिलेगा टूरिस्ट तो रोज़ ही दिन से दिन बढ़ ही जाते तो उम्मीद है ज़्यादा इससे भी ज़्यादा बढ़ना चाहिए
Sonmarg is one of Kashmir's key winter destinations where tourism, livelihood and snowfall are linked. The fresh snowfall has made everyone happy.
Odisha's Chilika Lake, India's largest waterbird habitat, is witnessing the arrival of thousands of migratory birds from different parts of the world. To mark the occasion, the 6th National Chilika Bird Festival will be held from the 6th to the 8th of this month. The 3-day event will include activities designed to showcase the lake's biodiversity and give visitors an opportunity to observe nearly 200 bird species.
Odisha's Chilika Lake, India's largest waterbird habitat, has once again transformed into a breathtaking spectacle of movement and sound as a wide variety of migratory birds grace its waters. From the dazzling blue-tailed bee-eater to the grey-headed swamp hen and visitors such as the Eurasian vegan, Chilika is currently a vibrant haven for avian guests from across the globe. To celebrate these feathered visitors, authorities are hosting the 6th National Chilika Bird Festival, honoring the lakhs of migratory birds spanning over close to 200 species that have made this iconic wetland their temporary home.
हमारे फॉरेस्ट एनवायरनमेंट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज डिपार्टमेंट और डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ टूरिज्म गवर्नमेंट ऑफ ओडिशा हम लोग मिलके एक स्पेशल इवेंट आपके लिए क्यूरेट किए हैं जो एक इंटरनेशनल इवेंट है जो हम चिलिका के जो बर्ड का डाइवर्सिटी है उस पर फोकस कर रहे हैं तो आप आइए 6 जनवरी से 8 जनवरी तक का ये इवेंट है तो आप लोगों का निवेदन है आप आइए चिलिका के जो बायोडाइवर्सिटी है और बर्ड का जो डाइवर्सिटी है आप आके उसको एक्सप्लोर कीजिए
The Chilika Bird Festival will be held from January 6th to 8th. According to officials, specially curated events have been organized to give visitors a unique opportunity to witness the migratory birds and embrace the lake's rich biodiversity.
And preparations are underway in Gujarat for Uttarayan, the kite festival that marks the end of winter. In Ahmedabad, artisans are busy making kite strings, including one family that has carried on the tradition for 3 generations. Take a look at this report.
These artisans, meticulously giving the finishing touches to kite strings, herald the beginning of preparations for Uttarayan, the Hindu festival that traditionally marks the end of winter and onset of longer days. At the heart of celebrations in Gujarat is kite flying, and crafting the perfect kite string is an art that requires skill and experience. Rupesh Thakur, a third-generation artisan in Ahmedabad, has been continuing this delicate craft, carrying forward a family legacy that spans more than 6 decades. Rupesh takes pride in the fact that his strings are all eco-friendly, helping make the festivities safe and sustainable for the environment.
मैं केमिकल यूज करता हूँ, शीशा कम यूज करता हूँ। ये हर जगह नहीं बन पाती है डोर, ये डोर में बहुत मेहनत लगती है और ये केमिकल जो यूज कर रहा हूँ इसमें कोई किसी को दिक्कत नहीं हो सकती।
Rupesh also urges people to avoid using Chinese manjha, saying it is harmful for the environment and dangerous especially for birds.
मैं हाथ जोड़ के विनती करता हूँ कि कोई भी चाइनीज डोरी चढ़ाए ही नहीं। चाइनीज डोरी में बहुत तकलीफ होती है, सबको, पक्षियों को भी होती है और ये कॉटन डोरी है, कॉटन डोरी में कुछ भी किसी को तकलीफ नहीं होती, ये तुरंत टूट जाती है।
Over the years, Rupesh has built a loyal customer base.
रुपेश भाई के पास मैं आ रहा हूँ करीबन 9 से 10 साल हो गए। 65 इयर्स से यहाँ पे हैं, इनके दादाजी आ गए थे। सो दिस इज थर्ड जनरेशन जो वो ये काम कर रहे हैं। जो मांझे का जो घिसाई होती है ये बहुत ही बढ़िया करते हैं।
इको फ्रेंडली मांझे के फायदे ये होते हैं कि आपको हेल्पफुल होता है और आपके लिए, आपकी उंगलियों के लिए वो क्या बोले ज्यादा कटती नहीं आपकी उंगलियां।
This year, during Uttarayan on January 14th, the skies over Ahmedabad will be filled with colourful kites, many flying on strings made by artisans like Rupesh.
All right, moving on to some other news related to sports now. Underscoring the growing emphasis on strengthening sports infrastructure and promoting athletic developments, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday said that India is making strong efforts to host the 2036 Olympic Games, following the country's nod to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. The Prime Minister made these remarks while virtually inaugurating the 72nd National Volleyball Championship in Varanasi. The tournament aims to enhance the city's profile as a hub for major national events, aligning with its expanding role in hosting significant cultural and sporting initiatives.
भारत में स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रहा है। एक तरफ हम अच्छा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और फंडिंग मैकेनिज्म तैयार कर रहे हैं और इसके साथ ही नौजवानों को शानदार एक्सपोजर देने के लिए भी काम कर रहे हैं। आपने गौर किया होगा, बीते दशक में कई शहरों में फीफा अंडर 17 विश्व कप, हॉकी विश्व कप, चेस से जुड़े बड़े इवेंट्स, ऐसे 20 से अधिक प्रमुख अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कार्यक्रम आयोजित किए हैं। 2030 के कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स भी भारत में ही होने जा रहे हैं। भारत पूरी मजबूती से 2036 ओलंपिक की मेजबानी के लिए भी तैयारी कर रहा है।
And the Prime Minister also lauded how provisions such as the National Sports Governance Act and the Khelo Bharat Policy 2025 are transforming the sports ecosystem in India.
स्पोर्ट्स सेक्टर में भी सरकार ने बड़े रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं। नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स गवर्नेंस एक्ट और खेलो भारत नीति 2025, इस प्रकार के प्रावधानों से सही टैलेंट को अवसर मिलेगा। खेल संगठनों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ेगी। देश के युवाओं को स्पोर्ट्स और एजुकेशन दोनों ही क्षेत्रों में एक साथ आगे बढ़ने का अवसर मिलेगा। साथियों, आज टॉप्स जैसे इनिशिएटिव से भारत में स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रहा है। एक तरफ हम अच्छा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और फंडिंग मैकेनिज्म तैयार कर रहे हैं और इसके साथ ही नौजवानों को शानदार एक्सपोजर देने के लिए भी काम कर रहे हैं।
And that's all.